Good morning to all of you. We should in the morning start with a good morning. Because he said motivation to keep you alert and active. Respected and very good friend of us and very accomplished Reserve Bank, our Executive Director Sri G. Gopalakrishna, and very friendly, lovable and all with a lot of knowledge. And today we have the fortunate to get G. Gopalakrishna, the author of this particular report itself, to come and be participants in our program. Similarly, my friend and we were together in the our corporation bank, and we were also pen friends, and a very man with a lot of activism and a lot of spirit, enthusiasm, Mr. Srinivasan, President of Cyber Society of India and Prime Point Foundation. Similarly, we have Mr. P.N. Verma, the Field General Manager, UCO Bank, Chennai, and Mr. Narendra, our own IOBN, and Mr. Shankar Kumar, and other general managers of our own IOB, and members of the press, and my friends from the banking who have come to today to debate, discuss, and come with an action plan for implementation in the respective banks. And so I am very happy to part of this program and have a inaugural address by me. As rightly mentioned by Srinivasan, he has covered quite a lot of areas. As we said, we are all bankers and we are practitioners, but as far as the IT, there are a lot of experts. But what I always feel that any IT is arising out of the business heads or the people who we want to achieve. We want to reach out to the customers. So the IT should be arising out of the customer's need, customer's felt need. But so the programming or the arising out of that, then the necessary hardware along with the software and all other, that core group of writing the IT program, it has to be later followed by the general practitioners or the users friendly, and they should be able to understand in depth and implement the program. Otherwise, what we normally find is quite a lot of program enabling is there, but the utilization has been very poor. In the banking sector, we have spent a lot of money on IT, but if we rightly say what is the return on assets of a return on that capital employed, I think my layman opinion is we have a long way to go. We are not made full use of. But recent days survey shows that in terms of the internet banking, mobile banking, and the latest deliverables, including like ATM when it was introduced, we thought whether it is going to be a waste exercise. Today it has become a very, very regular feature, and the ATMs are multifaceted now, not necessarily only cash withdrawal. It has got other features, and so they are getting more and more utilization. And one more thing is, today those who are focusing on young generation in terms of digital banking or in terms of your Facebook or Twitter or such of the modern method of reaching out, the response has been very higher. In fact, the new generation banks, some of the foreign banks, they have a separate division to focus on. And recently in our bank on, we had discussed on these aspects, how to invite young generation, and there the focus came on this digitalization. So these IT experts, who are again the beneficiaries of our IT enablers, because today out of the employment opportunities, 10 to 15% go to the IT field, service sector. So this Gen Next who are in the IT and also in the other manufacturing and service industry, to get them into our fold, we have to necessarily have the modern deliverables or modern method of banking more focused. So to that extent, there is also another area of risk. So that is what I think today's our focus is. While we do spend and while do enable and while we be in line with the need of the hour, as well as keeping in view the requirement currently and also in the future things to come. At the same time, we must not be anywhere, we should not lose sight of the requirement of the safety aspects, because we work on the trust of the customers and the trusteeship. The public money is with us, the trusteeship. So recently in Chennai, there was a big problem in relation to ATM related frauds, and quite a lot of customers from various banks, they were put into problem, and the police and others, they conducted a meeting in the leadership of Reserve Bank of India. There also we had gone. So they have brought out quite a lot of areas where we are not taking full care. So in terms of that, some of them who have introduced in the ATM itself the enabling mechanism to point out any aberrations or other, or which doesn't allow such aberrations, they were safe, whereas others had to definitely give lot of money. Now ultimately the money is from our own banking fraternity and the public money, so they have to pay to the customers, and we have to necessarily, also it will result in loss of reputation. The more other than that, one is inconvenience, lot of customers, and also that lot of anxiety, because quite a lot of customers may feel that whether my money in the bank in terms of the ATM and other such enabling, is it safe, is there any difficulty? So it becomes a responsibility on the banks that to think ahead and prepare ourselves and bring some such gadgets or such safety walls or safety systems, and ensure that there is a strong firewall or strong systems, which in terms of, because the human innovation and human ingenuity and the people who have a crooked mind and such minds, that is running much faster than what our own IT experts and what we are thinking. So they have always go ahead in terms of how to break these firewalls and try to make undue use of, so that they can take a maximum out of that. And we have heard internationally also quite a lot of such people who are hacking and who have been able to take quite a lot of information. So in the IT, apart from the financial aspect of that, the information is very, very key information. This type of our customers' information should not be allowed to go anywhere. It has to be very, very safely maintained. So where if they are having, so in terms of our own practitioners on a regular basis, see that whether we have followed the antivirus programs or have we taken necessary care to see that our computer systems or computer software is free from such hacking or such, because internationally there are quite a lot of new things coming even in the hacking. As we do innovate, they may also be innovating so many things. So it is, and India, that also another thing is, India is, because here the savings are more, Indian people are all having quite a lot of rural and semi-urban, their hard-earned monies are kept in the bank, and the people who are from some of the countries, like I had like in Bombay once, some of the people, they are from the Nigeria or I don't say some African countries and all. They landed, and some of the slum accounts what we are opening, financial inclusion and such of the accounts, they landed in that as the account holders, and they used that methodology to take out a lot of money from the banks, and we have to again shell out that money. So in view of that, of course the moment that transaction that way paying is over, we forget about that incident. But in fact, we have to necessarily take care such incidents don't repeat. That is a very, very important. I think in my this whatever I am talking, my layman's knowledge, the written knowledge and all things are there. But unless first we give importance to our layman knowledge and be prepared, because whenever we talk to the IT specs, sir, everything is taken care, sir. Everything is done. So they will always defend themselves. But in fact, in the today's discussion also, I don't know how many of you are IT experts, how many of you are practitioners and who are users of IT. If the users of IT should definitely question these IT experts, and they must not allow them to defend too much, because unless you question, innovation don't come. There will not be much more proactivism or futuristically thinking. We always get a sense of comfort and we remain as static. So whether in terms of IT or in any other thing, this statism will not help. So that is the one I think that we have to make use of some of the experts coming, or even amongst you also you have to interact and get any of your doubt removed by some expert opinion. So today that's how we are also having our presence of Gopalakrishna Sahab and other people on the dais, similarly on the after dais. I think that should be made use of in terms of the available opportunities here. Now, coming to the aspect of this, he was mentioning IT governance, IT architecture, IT system enabling. There are quite a lot of recently IDBRT also, our organization from the Reserve Bank. They are working on this IT governance architecture. They have given some of the international standards or benchmarks, and I think they have put on their website also. And even recently in our BankOn, we brought out a booklet by the IDBRT on CRM techniques and connected to the IT. And I think today again a core committee is meeting in IBA by the IDBRT on IT governance and IT organization structure and IT various aspects of that. So I think from the traditional method of our IT governance and IT enabling thing, we have to move to the modern and our outlook with the international standards. In fact, in our governance, in the sense, even in your terms of working environment and in terms of the whole our own individual governance also, we need to be little more proactive and productive, and we should that the word what he said, the motivational thing, the self motivation also needed. What I find is that quite a lot of people individually they may be very active, but they need some type of ignition to make them very active. And we find that everyday routine cut, when it goes on, some of our IT people or maybe our other also, quite a lot of people tend to go in a ordinary manner, not as a little extraordinary. Because I think all of us, when we joined as IT experts and all, you had a uniqueness of your expertise. That it is very difficult for you to keep that uniqueness for a continuous period. So in order to keep you as a uniqueness, because now the youngsters are also joining, they will be definitely questioning of your uniqueness. So you need to always keep your knowledge, power or information system or the global issues or some of the foreign banks or some of the corporates. Some of the today we need to look from the banking to the, suppose I presume all of you are bankers here, you need to look to a private corporates, or you need to look to some of the institutions of excellence, some of the colleges and others where they do think on this. So we normally do not go beyond our borders of banking alone. So there, whether in terms of product innovation, whether in terms of our improvement of thereof, that is where we find, sometimes I was in Australia and all, I found they take some of the professors, they take some of the corporate heads in the banking, bringing them to the banking, then there will be a lot of new enthusiasm and new way of looking at. So we need to really move out from our traditionality of a banker to the other side of the various sections of the society and find out what are the things required even in terms of our innovation or preparedness, along with the safety and security what we are to have, and have a governance architecture. Similarly, the role, yesterday one of our Professor Subramanian, he had come from IGNO, all of you must be knowing. I attended only for a limited period. So then he asked some questions to our IT people. Can you give an assurance that all your services can be rendered efficiently, hassle-free, and within the set time of objectives? Suppose 1 minute delivery. So our, of course they could not, because he is a big man, they didn't reply, I am not aware. But other side also was not coming so forthwithly to say that yes, we can give assurance. You understood, in the sense, any service, anything which customer expects you. So can we state in our website, all these services hassle-free, within the set time, can it be delivered? And you have a yes to, if there is not delivered, you have a question to ask. It's very difficult. So, like that, when you are thinking of IT as such, in all respect, there must be a definite set objective, the achievement, and in terms of satisfaction survey, or in terms of the finality of the people who are receiving, what is the hassle-freeness and what is the percentage of, suppose a survey is done, whether that is really what you meant in terms of your program, whether it has been achieved at the objective. I think that we have to necessarily make some more introspection and see that we are very much in line with the customer expectation. So, of course, one staying he has given as Ronald Reagan, who has been very rightly said that information is the oxygen of the modern age. It steeps through the walls topped by barbed wire. It warps across the electrified borders. So information is the very lifeblood of today's business, be it banking or any other industry. So being a financial sector where the trust of the people matters most for the survival, banks have a greater responsibility in ensuring that the trust reposed in the bank is not compromised in any way. So if your personnel do not know or understand how to maintain the confidentiality of the information or how to secure it appropriately, not only do you risk having one of your most valuable business assets, that is information, mishandled, inappropriately used or obtained by unauthorized persons, but you also risk being in non-compliance of a growing number of laws and regulations that require certain types of information security and privacy awareness and training activities. You can also risk damaging another valuable asset, that is the corporate reputation. See, now one important thing is, US laws are very, very strict. Now we have quite a lot of inward remittances are coming, and if there are any, the originator of the remitter or the receipt of the, both are on the unlawful activities, or who they are in the banned persons or banned organizations, I am not sure that we have been able to. There are quite a lot of this information. Internationally, they have quite a lot of maybe such KYC and we get a lot of such information from the Ministry of Home, various things. But if I ask that whether that have been totally, technologically it prevents this remittance to receive, 100% I cannot be sure. So what is that we have done? That means everybody knows that it is very risky, but nobody is taking. And in fact, if in anywhere it is found, even for a bank like State Bank, I don't know, State Bank or some of the big banks also, they had an opportunity some time back, their license were to be cancelled and government and all people have to interact. So in terms of our international cross-border transfers and cross-border transactions, we have not reached up to that stage where by sitting here I can say this is a permitted transaction, this is not a permitted transaction. So when we have such laws, similarly suppose take even domestically also, everybody knows KYC and anti-money laundering rules are very, very important. Now if in terms of some of the foreign banks, if an account has to be enabled to be opened, it passes through the risk manager and that man, once it passes through that and approves that, then only that account can be opened. Whereas here, what we do after the account is opened, tomorrow I put it on the transaction on the one of the my anti-money laundering or other things, and after getting into know if there are any exceptions or aberrations, some I make an inquiry, and by the time your harm is already done. What is the use? So why our requirement is everybody knows, but we are not still. I don't know whether I may be only the bank or whether any of our bankers here have you got into that level where all the account opening, whichever before any transaction, forget about account opening form. In fact, today, see, your inward clearing and outward clearing. Inward clearing is coming through. Now all the inward clearing, when credit is coming, these credits are duly authorized or permitted transaction in the Indian law or the global law. We do not fully know. Similarly, the outward clearing, when it is being passed. So in both of the things, they are all, machine cannot make any such exception. Machine can only do the debit and credit. So beyond that, what type of technology we will be using to see these things are taken care. Otherwise, we will be putting our entire colleagues into risk. Similarly, we are putting our reputation into risk, and any law breaking, as rightly mentioned here, is not merely corporate reputation, it is a lot of fine. And you will be not able to operate in that country neither at all. Today, one example now, lot of sanctions are coming against Iran. All of you are aware that, and even recently that any country doing any transaction, that particular country which has put a sanction against that, they are very, very strict. Of course, we follow the India, we have not have such sanctions, so we can do. But at the same time, when we are a global bank, we have to keep in view what are those sanctions against and what are the permitted transactions. And I found some time back, we had quite a lot of some of our companies were listed by the US when they have published. These are the organizations which are now. You will find another, whether I should have a dealing with these companies or not, even though we as a whole have not passed that anti-law. But so these are all these, but if the gravity of the transaction, to what extent it is so much in terms of that, or is it a, so that also the IT should be enabled to gauge, is it a small transaction? Of course, small or big, there is no difference, but in terms of the linkages, again these linkages to the country laws and linkages to the such things, can the IT arrive at? So there are and even I think in terms of when you were saying IS audit and all, I find is my earlier, even now I feel none of our people, practitioner or anybody, don't give any importance to IS audit. All the guidelines given in the IS audit and other findings are taken very lightly. It gets repeated every time. So that is not the purpose of IS audit. So in terms of that, today at the unit level and the practitioner at the user level, as far as IS audit and other things, because we have earlier a lot of cases, unoperative accounts or accounts where what you call hardly being operated, or there are no frills account. Now suppose in a no frill account one big credit comes which is not a permitted credit and somebody draws and all. Tomorrow we have a very big, and some of the account which are got closed, but in the system it is not closed. Again there is a risk. So this type of risk, all which is all whatever I am talking is a case study. It has just happened and the banks have been put into loss. But in spite of that, so when that transaction takes place, a man at the central level should immediately say alert. And one more thing is branches are not making use of aberration reports. And similarly the core banking we are not fully made use of. When we say core banking, still we are asking unit level banking. If it is a core sitting at the any level anywhere, the distance is removed, so we should be able to have a online what they call positive or negative, both aspect, even in terms of the information system. That is why the RBI now has told that there should be a complete single platform for information system, and we should be able to get any information retrieved from the pool of the banking data, so that I can have, because they are interested in a systemic data and systemic aberrations or positiveness, and at the same time individual bank, whereas that is the one which we are going to pass through, where all will be what you call connectivity. Similarly, recently our secretary banking has been talking about the interoperability of entire any account holder. If he is an account holder of X bank, he is account holder of any bank. He should be selected or identified by a single identity. Even today within the bank, see the legacy problem we are not still made into that. So still people are not being recognized by, I don't know, some banks have done, but quite a lot of our people are not recognized by single identity. So now that UID, the Aadhaar enabled card, they have already reached a fairly good number. So that is the one, maybe the one which can give a single identity. So if he is a customer of one bank, he can be a customer of any bank. But of course there is a certain confidentiality of information and all. So that is why I think our regulator versus some newses we were reading. But there is nothing harm in thinking futuristically, because all public sector banks are alone, single bank. It is all under the single banner. So the customer should have a single platform to do whatever business, and connecting all his balance to single account, so that he gets the benefit for his maximization of funds. So that may be the idea that this has come. So security is not a product but a process. So that is the one very important. So then I believe that education must be the first step to computer security. So I think Srinivasan has taken a right step. Even by being here now, by standing here, I am knowing something. Whatever my knowledge, I am trying to again So this idea of, otherwise all of us know day-to-day routine, we are always busy. But coming here, put your mind, put your all thinking process totally focused on the subject, so that you go out of this meeting more enlightened and more with the determination that you will pass on that knowledge and other things to a gross section of your colleagues, and so that in the bank, the culture of compliance, culture of IT governance, IT security and all those things have to improve. What I was telling, there are quite a lot of audits, so many things, but the culture of that respect for those audit or respect for systems and other things, that there is a long way. Still what we find, there is a difference. So that has to happen in all that. So as a people, you are all considered as a leaders, rightly mentioned, you are all considered, if you have been selected out of your will as well as by deputation or whatever, you have come as they committed to this IT aspect. So you have to have the responsibility, not that you only know it everything. This now in the traditional, a lot of people of ours, we feel hesitate to pass on information, knowledge to others, because we feel that it is our own power. Why should we pass on? That is actually mistake. By passing on and interacting, you will get to know more and more. So I feel that you will do that job. So, and with this small my views on the subject, today we have a good speakers. I think this Yes Kumar, what he was saying, I think he should have come. He is a very good person. So you can have, nowadays system is through video conferencing. You should have a video here, and from there he can speak. He need not come. So that is also could have been done, because he is always a proactive thinker, Mr. Srinivasan. Once again, I thank all of you for my patient hearing. I am a very, a layman in terms of that. But I would sure that all of us will pledge that we will do something beyond, something more than the required, and this today's session will go a long way in furthering the basic objective of being customer orientation as well as being a bank with a difference. Thank you, all the best.